between St. Mary's and UC Riverside coming your way next on ESPN+. From inside University Credit Union Pavilion, St. Mary's and UC Riverside. Evan Giddings along with Tim Fitzgerald with you here courtside on ESPN+, and we are underway. Maya Jones turns it over for St. Mary's. She's joined by Abigail Schaff, along with Emily Foy, Kennedy Johnson, and Lamela Sungu Afiki is the starting five today for the Gales. Meanwhile, for UC Riverside, Michaela Rose, Seneca Hackley, Zoe Tillery, Shelly Dushman, and Esther Matarraz. Well, this is a St. Mary's team at 4-2 that's won their past two in two very different ways last weekend in Hawaii. Meanwhile, UC Riverside at 2-5 as the first shot is triggered from the top of the key by Hackley off the mark, and our first foul of the game goes against the Gales. This is a UC Riverside team, Tim, that we talked about pregame, kind of looking to get its first real market victory of the season under the first-year head coach Brad Langston. Yeah, they're going to have their work cut out for them. This is the Gales team back home, excited to be back here. And even in a holiday game like this, it's Thanksgiving break, a lot of the students are gone. They're back home, and they can get a chance to feel comfortable. First three is splashed in from the wing, courtesy of Tillery, the 5'8" junior from Sacramento, California. And two kind of similar teams as far as how they're structured. UC Riverside, 8 newcomers. Meanwhile, St. Mary's, one of their transfers right here, drives to the cup as Afiki misses off the mark. But they're also a brand new group compared to the first year under Jeff Cameron. Yeah, and a lot of players I'm curious to see. There's Rose from the corner, misses everything, and Kennedy Johnson, one of those fresh faces, grabs the rebound. Yeah, a lot of players I'm curious to see that I've read about last year as the SID, or talked about coming to the team, who I saw on their recruiting trips, now getting to see them play. Foy tees up the triple. She had double digits her last time out in the victory against University of Louisiana Monroe, but misses the first three from her. Foy, I'm curious to see take the next step. Showed good flashes last year, would just make some freshman mistakes. Yeah, Foy was a player that began the season in the starting lineup, fell a bit out of favor, went to the bench as that three is hoisted and delivered by DeSchumann. A quick 6-0 start for UC Riverside, but finished the season strong, and really alongside Maya Rose now kind of anchors, at least for today, a starting five in which they are essentially the veterans for St. Mary's. Dushman with that bucket, she can fill up a stat sheet. She's going to be dangerous out here for the Gales to guard. So can Kennedy Johnson. She'll get to the free throw line. This is a transfer from the University of Idaho. Prior to, of course, from nearby Hayward, attended Bishop O'Dowd High School, very familiar with the area. And so far, all she has done through her first few matches is average double digits. And she'll have a chance for the Gales' first points here, as checking in off the bench is the freshman from Portland, and Mariana Hishmanor. Johnson's first shot is up and good. She definitely brings that, does Johnson, ability to attack the rim, get to the line. Spent her first 2 seasons at UC Santa Barbara before becoming a Vandal last year. Was 14 points a game in the Big Sky. Named first team all-conference, goes 2 of 2 from the stripe. UC Riverside, a team that has struggled so far offensively this season. Shooting about 30% from three-point range, as burrowing to the paint is Dushman, and before the shot is thrown up, it is called off. So second team foul against St. Mary's. Our officials this afternoon, Cheryl Blue, Devon Brazier, and Jeffrey Benson. First personal foul on Schaff. St. Mary's in a zone defense. Yeah, matchup zone here early on. Create a turnover. Double team does force it. This is a Riverside team that turns the ball over about 15 times per game. High-low entry pass for Foy. Tough place to handle it, and she stepped on the baseline. Yeah, you're right about that, Evan. A tough place to made the catch. That was great. First of all, initially kept her feet in, but then just edged onto the end line. Afiki back in transition here, and this is what St. Mary's loves to do, creating havoc. And against the UC's Riverside team that can be careless with the basketball, you see right there Johnson takes advantage in transition, down in the lane, and goes up and scoops it home.
And there's a turnover leading to a fast break basket. That's what Coach Cameron wants. That's Cameron ball. Wants similar to that 40 minutes of hell style with the pressure they'll create.
And a style that helped earn him Big West Coach of the Year honors at Long Beach State. And that's another turnover forced by St. Mary's. After 6 seasons down south, really made them somewhat of a force in the Big West, and the connection between him and Brad Langston apparent as well. Very familiar with each other from their days. Well, Langston's still with, but as an assistant, now Cameron up here coming from the Big West.
Getting a chance to have a little consistency in his lineup, a group together now for a handful of games at least in an off season altogether. In fact, took a trip to Italy together, did this group as part of their whole bonding experience.
Akuso tries to go underneath, and the pass is deflected and stolen. Intended for Ella Whedon. Also another transfer, came over from WCC school, LMU. Also Zariah Kuso into the game for the first time for St. Mary's. Here's Rose for 3, front rim. Offensive rebound is successful, and the putback is converted by Matarraz.
Great putback, good offensive rebound that time for Matarraz. Good positioning and went right back up with conviction.
Ishmanor directing traffic. UC Riverside giving up some size in the interior, fronting each post player for the Gales, and another St. Mary's turnover.
Yeah, you're right. That fronting has led to these turnovers.
Ushman steps inside the three-point line, in and out on the jump shot. Ushman hit her first shot, quickly up ahead now, and just able to keep that in play was Afiki. Again, a couple of ambitious passes, just barely unable to connect to the paint. UC Riverside, and Tad Taxon is Matarraz. Timeout, St. Mary's.
Yeah, not surprised at all by that timeout from Jeff Cameron. Not really liking the carelessness with the ball or the transition defense.
And that'll take us to our first break in the action. 10-4, UC Riverside. They've hit 50% of their shots and own an early edge. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald back inside UCU Pavilion after this message on ESPN+.
There are captivating moments, celebrated achievements, and enriching experiences that provide lifelong memories. We see a boundless drive to capture titles and serve as ambassadors on our campuses and in our communities. As our footprint grows, we continue to blaze our path forward. We are passionate, we are collaborative, and we are committed to excellence. We are the West Coast Conference.
Credit Union One Free Checking has everything you need to bank on the go, make deposits and more with our highly rated mobile app. And get your direct deposit up to 2 days sooner with CU1 Early Pay. Open your account in minutes at creditunion1.org.
Introducing CU1 High Yield Checking, the account that rewards you for everyday banking. Earn up to 5.25% APY when you make qualifying transactions each month. No minimum or opening balance required. Get started at cu1.com/high yield checking.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best, because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Jersey Mike's freshly slices it right in front of you. The authentic Jersey way. You can't fake that. And look, you can fake a lot of stuff these days. You can fake my outfit, but you can't fake freshly sliced turkey. You can fake these haunches, but you can't fake freshly sizzled bacon. Nay, you just can't fake a freshly sliced Jersey sub. It's nice to be back in my real body. Number 13, please. Made the authentic Jersey way since 1956. It's a Jersey Mike's thing, a sub above.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
So after the first media timeout, St. Mary's trailing 10-4 here at home, trying to extend to their first winning streak of the season, 4-2 to begin the year. And UC Riverside right now standing in their way. Tim Fitzgerald, Evan Giddings with you on ESPN Plus. And so far, Fitz, it feels like defensively St. Mary's has found a few things. This is the end of the floor, but they look for some consistency.
Yeah, just far too many turnovers, especially on the entry passes. Rather than dribbling into trouble, it's been passing into trouble. And ever since I've started covering this team in 2021, that's been a bit of an Achilles heel.
5 turnovers, make it 6 through the first 5.5 minutes for St. Mary's. We talked about the importance of defensive intensity against a Riverside team that turns it over 15 times per game. St. Mary's gives it up 20 times per game as there's a blocking foul called against, I believe, Akuso. Going to be her first personal and the third team foul for St. Mary's.
Akuso, that's some of the things that she needed to clean up coming out of that spectacular freshman year into her sophomore season were the turnovers and fouls.
Yeah, the first WCC freshman of the year by a St. Mary's Gale since 2015. And all, of course, under the tutelage of Jeff Kamen. 25 minutes per game, about 12 points per game. And, I mean, you said it pregame, is stepping to the stripe and knocking it down as Dushman. Akuso is what we call a bucket.
Yes, absolutely. And she was someone that had a knee injury in her final season down in Amarillo, Texas, and was fortunate that Jeff Kamen was able to get on the recruiting trail with her.
Second chance opportunity for UC Riverside. Shot off back iron by Wickstrom into the game for the first time as a pass whipped up ahead and nearly finished on a lefty scoop by Eddie Clark. Couple of good looks for St. Mary's, few inches from falling. Dushman gets Akuso in the air. Extra pass, one too many, but again, drawing contact in the interior is UC Riverside, and it's Matarraz.
Edie Clark, another one of those players I was excited to see. Saw her on her recruiting trips here and when she signed with the Gales, and get a chance to actually see game action of some of these new St. Mary's players is a good fun time here right now.
And Hunter is going to quickly check in for Akuso as Whedon picks up. They gave it to Whedon.
Yeah.
Picked up her first foul, 14 foul for St. Mary's, but Jada Hunter will check in for the first time, the transfer from Laney College. An extremely successful freshman year at the junior college circuit as the first free throw is splashed in by Matarraz.
Yeah, the Gales will be cautious with Akuso's minutes here as she comes back from injury early on.
Yeah, she only played 5 minutes and I believe 7 minutes in her first 2 games of the season, so Kamen trying to get her in some spurts. And right now it's been UC Riverside that's got off to a nice spurt for the first 6 minutes. They lead 13-4.
Gales just got to take care of the ball while still simultaneously being aggressive offensively.
They beat Eastern Washington a couple of games ago as Hunter is swatted away without a single score in double digits. So they are a scoring by committee type of offense that they have not yet settled into a rhythm yet. Dushman swings a pass to the corner. 2-point. A long look from Tillery is no good. Hunter rips down the rebound. Is wrapped up underneath, and a jump ball will deliver possession back to UC Riverside.
Tough break for the Gales there. Got the good hustle board, but equal hustle right back from the Anteaters to force that jump.
And right now, UC Riverside preying off the St. Mary's mistakes. 8 points off of 6 turnovers.
Currently on a 7-0 run as well in this last 2.5 minutes.
And so Foy will check in as Johnson takes her first breather. Tillery surveying. It's over to Matarraz. Brand new shot clock. Hunter trying to push the point of attacker off the spot. Dushman into the paint. A floater is good. Dushman off to a nice start for UC Riverside. She's got 6 points.
One of the multiple Northern Colorado transfers on this team. Brought in, but one of the assistant coaches that came over from Northern Colorado. And the Gales will get a foul their way now.
Yeah, well beyond the three-point line, it's Wickstrom that picks up the personal. You see Riverside not in any foul trouble yet. Meanwhile, St. Mary's one away from the bonus. The Gales have just 1 field goal so far on this side of the floor. Have not scored in nearly 4 minutes. And it goes to Whedon. Hishmanor now calls for Clark. Kind of a rub screen. Hishmanor to a diving Clark. Nice play, but blows the bunny.
2 of those now for Clark, where she's been right there with the left hand. Maybe took off a little too soon on that layup.
Meanwhile, Wickstrom forces the issue, and we'll get to the free throw line.
This is not what I have seen from the Gales just watching their games so far online. And it has been, they've certainly been a little more aggressive, a little more entertaining, if you will. They have not been boring, put it that way. But right now, really struggling to get their offense going.
Now, last time out, a 68-61 victory against Louisiana Monroe as Wickstrom converts. And before that, kind of a 2-point back-and-forth game between Eastern Washington and the Gales that St. Mary's was victorious by a basket. Schaff back into the game for St. Mary's as they've gone down 17-4 here in the opening period. UC Riverside coming out fighting early. At the free throw line, they've done a bulk of their damage, 5 of 6 now from the stripe. Hunter.
UC Riverside team is going to be hungry and nothing to lose, everything to gain here in this type of game.
Schaff puts it on the deck, rises up and misses the jump shot.
You almost wonder if the Gales are having a little trouble adjusting to being back on their home court.
Yeah, those tins right now the size of a golf hole for St. Mary's. Riverside looking at a wide net. Under 2 to play here in the first. Nice on-ball defense there from Hishmanor. Open look. Polk drills it. 20 first quarter points for UC Riverside.
Big
Kehlani
shot
Polk
from Polk. Hitting 33% from downtown coming into this afternoon.
Foy. Cut off baseline. Schaff swings it. Hunter rises up to pluck it. And now gives it up to Clark. And this time she converts. 3rd time's the charm.
Yeah, you knew that wasn't going to happen again. It was surprising that it happened the first 2 times. We're talking about the Gales' mistakes, but you tip your cap to UC Riverside.
Wickstrom quickly tries to attack with a 3-pointer. A quick shot is off the mark. Clark the rebound. Now, St. Mary's has generated quality looks. They just haven't been able to get them to fall quite yet. 2-for-1 opportunity if the Gales want it. Hishmanor stripped. And a jump ball. St. Mary's will keep it, but right now you can tell defensively UC Riverside is playing with some momentum, pardon me.
Yeah, they're feeling themselves defensively right now, and it's definitely building. And that handoff telegraphed too much by the Gales that time. It's just too obvious for the Anteaters to make that read.
Well, Hishmanor and Hunter will come out. Back into the game, it's going to be Kennedy Johnson, joined by Foy. And also Maya Jones back in for St. Mary's. So who's going to initiate the offense for the Gales here? Foy turns it over and then commits a foul. Oh, no, pardon me. There's a walk prior to contact. Gales catch a break.
Yeah, absolutely. A fortunate break there for St. Mary's after the turnover.
6 giveaways in 6 minutes for St. Mary's. And a big reason why the Anteaters right now lead by 14. Have led by as many as 16 here in this opening period. 6-second separation, shot clock and game clock. Jones, before the entry pass, there was a foul, and it's called against Matarraz.
Not the worst foul there for her.
Now should they get Chicano with the first foul as from the short corner. Jones is off the mark with the J. Shot clock turned off here. Riverside looks like they'll keep for the final look. Fantastic opening period for the road side. St. Mary's looking for one stop. Polk inside taken away. 3 to shoot. Henderson has it tipped. Foy will launch at the horn and bank it in.
What a break for the Gales. The outlet pass deflected, ends up right in the hands of Emily Foy, who beats the buzzer.
And St. Mary's hits just this third shot of the quarter, but a big one, which could hopefully give them a boost moving into the second. Now, as we begin the second quarter here in Moraga, Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald on ESPN Plus. St. Mary's, Tim, after, well, really a disastrous start. They fall behind by as many as 16. Even though UC Riverside begins with they left off at the free throw line, and Emily Foy half-court shot that did count at the end of the first quarter, at least gave them some energy riding into the second period.
Yeah, hopefully they can build some momentum off of that if you're the Gales as the first one goes there for Hackley. But if you're the Gales, you just got to kind of keep the faith that you're going to get some of these buckets to go, but you got to cut the turnovers down. It's been a running narrative for this program a few years in a row from before Jeff Kamen was here on dealing with those turnovers.
Yeah, self-inflicted wounds, the story of the first 10 minutes. 7 turnovers for St. Mary's that led to 10 Anteaters points. And it's just difficult to play from ahead or play at all when you're giving up that many possessions. Kennedy Johnson directing traffic. And her pass is nearly taken away, but it manages to stick with St. Mary's.
Again, telegraphing a pass. You know, the scouting report is out there, plus you're giving it that obvious of a look is going to make it just too easy for the defense.
Well, and credit to UC Riverside. This is a team that forces over 20 turnovers per game. They have made it difficult as they force another turnover, this time a 5-second inbounds violation against the Gales. But they've made it simply difficult just for St. Mary's to get into their offensive sets.
Yeah, dead ball variety of a turnover that time as Coach Kamen scratching his chin.
We'll see if the Anteaters can take advantage as they did most times in the first quarter. Shot off the mark by Duchemin. Ball loose and corralled by Johnson.
Good defense there from Emily Foy, getting in the way. Didn't get the charge call she wanted, but did bother the shot.
Well, it's coming off her performance, which she scored a season-high 16 points, also went 4 of 5 from downtown. Already has banked an early 3, quite literally, at the tail end of the first. Schaff, I thought that was kicked. Instead, it's deflected. Ends up with Jones. Jones down low. Clark turns around. The fadeaway. Couple of nearby misses so far for Edie Clark.
Yeah, that one was at a tough angle as now the Riverside side turns this one over. Tough angle, shot clock down to 3 when she got that ball. It created that sort of awkward fadeaway.
And now at the dead ball, St. Mary's is going to go to Hushmanor along with Afiki and also Amy Kurkowski, the freshman from Melbourne, Australia, will check in for the first time today. Well, and this has also been somewhat of a staple that we saw both when Kamen was in the Big West, but also his first season in Moraga. He's not afraid to run a Steve Kerr-like 12 or 13 rotation if he needs to keep everyone fresh.
Yeah, you got to keep everyone fresh with this sort of defensive intensity and the pressure you're trying to put on in offense. Got to have fresh legs out there.
Also included in that line change, Sasha Murphy, as Hushmanor is stripped, trying to go up among the trees. Duchemin will slow it down now for UC Riverside. Only shot about 45% from the floor in that first quarter, but the Gales had just 3 field goals, and one of which was a half-court buzzer beater. There's a UC Riverside turnover.
Gales needed that, a break for themselves. Kind of seeing that happen a little bit more across basketball, where the isolation big 3 isn't quite as in vogue as rolling out 10 players that you can play out there. We see that even at the highest levels of Cleveland, OKC doing it as well.
Duchemin just strips Kurkowski, stops at the free throw line, rolls it in with a foul on the opposite side. That's probably going to be one more. They're going to call.
See if that was a
loose ball foul.
Yeah, it'll just give UC Riverside another possession, though. So the bucket and the ball.
And at that point, you'd almost take the and one. Chance to add to even more. Second chance is good. Basically a 5-point possession as Michaela Rose drops in the corner triple.
Yeah, no and one that time. That was and 3.
And a 7-0 run to begin the quarter for UC Riverside. Offensively, they can't miss. Meanwhile, for St. Mary's, they've had trouble just getting shots up at this point. Afiki, long two, back rim. Riverside rebound. And a foul committed in front of the Gales bench, right in front of Jeff Kamen by Jada Hunter.
You just got to play defense with your feet. A little too much contact that time from Hunter.
Matarraz will come in for Gemma Cutler, a grad student. Had a couple minutes stint there.
Surprised to see the Gales struggling this much offensively. Still a lot of game left. But to be stuck on 9 points still at this stage is surprising. Especially then they haven't created as many points off of turnovers as I would have expected at this stage.
Well, and with how efficient they've been offensively, Duchemin nearly lost it. Her pass is tipped out of bounds by Hishmanor. But they've been top 5 so far this season in terms of field goal percentage and three-point shooting. This is a team that's about 50% from the floor, 35 from 3. And we'll see if that eventually shows up, but the problem is they just haven't been getting shots up.
Yeah, before they can even get the attempt off, they are losing possession.
Here's Jordan Marshall, gets cornered and then steps out of bounds.
Now we're starting to see some of the Gales defense create turnovers for UC Riverside. Can they capitalize and generate some offense out of it?
Down by 18. Game high, 3 minutes into the second period. Also a big difference. You mentioned the kinds of turnovers. More dead ball turnovers for UC Riverside. The live ball turnovers have been killing St. Mary's. Hishmanor locked up momentarily in the paint, drops it off to a nice cutter. Sasha Murphy's there for 2.
Yeah, if you're the Gales, don't get out of your element. Run what you're going to run. Don't feel like you have to try to get it all back at once.
Sasha Murphy, a junior, came over from UC Riverside. Very familiar with this program. And, of course, Jeff Kamen kind of getting some new faces, new bodies in that can run his system. Hoping they reap the benefits of it this year. There's a walk.
Another turnover forced by the Gales. Now starting to get into a rhythm defensively.
Got their first basket of the second period prior to the turnover by UC Riverside. And, again, they've been relatively even, 10-8. A lot of turnovers so far in this basketball game, but the frenetic pace is not something that Kamen's crew will shy away from.
Yeah, unfortunately, forcing some turnovers, but allowing 50% shooting for UC Riverside while shooting just 29% themselves.
Also +4 from downtown. St. Mary's looking to answer, and Kurkowski cannot. Taking Kurkowski all the way to the rim is Tillery, and Kurkowski denies her.
Love the Kurkowski's persistent defense there. Did not give up, stayed on her hip the entire way down the floor.
There's a Afiki with a long J. Well, the first time that St. Mary's has had really 2 or 3 possessions in which have not resulted in a turnover.
Yeah, stringing some together finally that are positive possessions for them.
Finding some consistency. And now a timeout's going to be taken by UC Riverside as Langston wants to slow down the pace. 5:21 remaining here in this first half. As we step aside for a media timeout, we'll be back after this. UC Riverside leading 27-13. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald on ESPN Plus. Back after this.
There are captivating moments, celebrated achievements, and enriching experiences that provide lifelong memories. We see a boundless drive to capture titles and serve as ambassadors on our campuses and in our communities. As our footprint grows, we continue to blaze our path forward. We are passionate, we are collaborative, and we are committed to excellence. We are the West Coast Conference.
Credit Union One Free Checking has everything you need to bank on the go, make deposits and more with our highly rated mobile app. And get your direct deposit up to 2 days sooner with CU1 Early Pay. Open your account in minutes at creditunion1.org.
Introducing CU1 High Yield Checking, the account that rewards you for everyday banking. Earn up to 5.25% APY when you make qualifying transactions each month. No minimum or opening balance required. Get started at cu1.com/high yield checking.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best, because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Jersey Mike's freshly slices it right in front of you. The authentic Jersey way. You can't fake that. And look, you can fake a lot of stuff these days. You can fake my outfit, but you can't fake freshly sliced turkey. You can fake these haunches, but you can't fake freshly sizzled bacon. Nay, you just can't fake a freshly sliced Jersey sub. It's nice to be back in my real body. Number 13, please. Made the authentic Jersey way since 1956. It's a Jersey Mike's thing. A sub above.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best, because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Well, St. Mary's women's basketball beginning to stabilize here at home against UC Riverside, but a strong Anteaters start has them up by double digits midway through the second period here in the first half. Kevin Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN Plus, as here's another three hoisted by Maya Chicano. The fifth three of the first half for the Anteaters, and they put 30 on the board.
This is a team that has struggled to clear 60 points this season. 5 games this year, they have been under 60 points, and they're halfway there already.
Well, just the first team foul committed of this second quarter by UC Riverside, and you're exactly right, Tim. This is a team that, at least on paper, under 60 points per game, only 30% from three, and right now they are 5 of 9 from distance, and on pace for, well above 60.
Yeah, absolutely. Gale's defense, they've got to close out better. Right now the perimeter defense has let them down.
UC Riverside, a team that's 2-5. Both of their victories against non-Division I opponents, as stopping in the paint is Hunter. And so they have been licking their chops for an opportunity against a team that, at least so far, looks like they match up pretty well against. Kennedy Johnson misses the floater.
Now the Gales, they have kept it interesting all year long. They've been in some nail-biting barn burners pretty much all season outside of a loss to Cal. You get the feeling they're still going to create one. Will it be enough?
Matarraz has it poked free. Nice play by Murphy. 3-on-3 for St. Mary's. As Ishmanor takes the Afiki screen, delivers it to her, just hit a long two from there right before the break. Spins in the paint, shot too strong.
Yeah, they've got to get cleaner looks than that. They've had opportunities, some good looks that just haven't gone down. They got to get back to that.
And trying to generate a lot of pick and roll offense. UC Riverside kind of mirroring them. Here's another three. Chicano. This time she misses. UC Riverside manages to keep it alive and keep it in play and forces St. Mary's foul.
Yeah, tough break for the Gales there. Long threes, great long rebounds, and happened to be right there in the corner for one. That time was Rose.
And that's going to be the fourth team foul against St. Mary's. Next one puts them in the bonus. For Johnson, that's her second personal.
Gales got to get to the line themselves, generate some fouls, and earn some opportunities to score with the clock stopped throughout the rest of this half.
Foy, Jones, and Schaff all check back in for St. Mary's. Duchemin leads UC Riverside with 8, also back in the game. And there she is, matching up on Schaff. Trying to take Schaff right. Spins in the paint. Schaff got a hand, all ball. and it's out of bounds. It'll stick with the Anteaters.
Much better by the Gales that time. Shot clock down to 3 seconds with 3:13 to go here in the first half.
You see Riverside looking to trigger the inbounds. They got to get a shot up quick. It's tipped away by Schaff. Stays with this side, but one less second to work with.
Great job playing the lanes.
Duchemin's going to have to hoist, and rejected by Jones.
Maya Jones showing her ability to play both ends of the floor.
Sticking with her attacker like a defensive back. Tossed it away. Underneath, Afiki hangs. I think got caught in the air. Nice contest by Duchemin.
Yeah, maybe rushed that shot a little bit. Again, a point-blank look and just not converting.
Swing pass to the corner. Attacking is Rose. Rose gets underneath. Errant reverse attempts. Here's Foy. Foy attacks Duchemin. Kicks it to Afiki. Elbow J. Doesn't get the shooter's touch.
Yeah, Afiki just struggling right now with the jump shot.
Afiki right now 1 of 7 from the floor. St. Mary's hasn't scored a point in the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds. 2:15 remaining in the first half. Rose doesn't want the pick. There's a mismatch on the other side, but Riverside not much time to hoist. Forcing some space and getting a shot off is Tillery. Good defense from St. Mary's.
Yeah, 2 times in a row now they've forced a late shot clock situation here for UC Riverside. Got a turnover with just a second left on the shot clock last time from Maya Jones on that last UC Riverside possession. This time forcing the violation.
Nadia Bernard will check in for Afiki. First appearance of the game for Bernard, the sophomore from Santa Clarita. The shot brings it across the logo.
Haven't seen Akuso this quarter for the Gales.
Akuso
try to save some of her minutes for the second half, perhaps.
Had a 2-minute stint in the first, and that's been it. Did not get a shot. Picked up a foul. Well, here's Hispanor. Front of the rim, had to hoist. Another good look for St. Mary's, but no points.
Yeah, unfortunately, too many empty trips when you're down like this, down 17.
And about 60 seconds to try and finish the half strong. St. Mary's shooting just 24% from the floor. Duchemin cut out by Schaff. Nice on-ball defense. Bernard taking over as well, but a better step-through move by Matarraz.
Well done keeping that pivot foot down. Got Bernard to bite that second move, and a third one allowed her to score.
St. Mary's now facing a game-high 19-point deficit. 2-for-1 chance. Can't rely on those half-court buzzer beaters for all their offense. Foy got the first one. Schaff does not want the 3. With 6 to shoot. Into the paint she goes. Rolls off the lip. Shot clock dark now for UC Riverside. A chance to go into the locker room leading by perhaps 20 points here on the road. Tillery, the junior from up the way in Sacramento, has got 5 to work with. Takes the Matarraz screen, steps into an open jump shot, short. Bernard the rebound, and St. Mary's gets a stop, but only 5 first-half field goals for the Gales, and they go into the break trailing by 19 points. We'll break this one down as we move forward on our halftime report. Third that fire to emerge in the second half for St. Mary's because they got some work to do and a hole to dig themselves out of. It'll be the starting 5 on the floor for the Gales as Maya Jones takes it out of the inbounds. In that first half, it was Kennedy Johnson who led the Gales with just 4 points. She's got it at the top. Opposite for UC Riverside, Shelly Duchemin led the way with 8. Right now, a game high between both teams. Johnson on the block. Burrows her way. Kind of almost a no-look shot and misses.
Yeah, it's shots like that they have to avoid. It has to be a cleaner look. You can't force something like that. They've had better looks that just didn't go. They can't be discouraged by that. They got to keep generating those.
Hackley's screen sets it up for Duchemin. Ella Whedon, as that first shot is off the mark, and Whedon forces the first hard two.
That's going to be a visual adjustment for me, seeing somebody other than Allie Bamberger in that 33 for the Gales. And it's not an adjustment to see another Whedon on the court, though, for St. Mary's. There is always going to be one, I feel like.
Well, Jeff Kamen opting to go a little small here with Whedon inserted for Afiaki. Had a tough first half, just 1 of 7 from the floor. And so, to our point during halftime, as Schaff gets cleanly stripped out of bounds, it'll stay with St. Mary's. Kamen, I think he's telling everyone he wants to speed this game up.
Yeah, they're going to have to. They know the clock is not their friend right now, down 32-13. They don't want to be frenetic.
Oh, it got close. And much like the first half, in and out.
Another good look that didn't go. Absolutely, Evan.
Hackley's pass is sent right back to her by Jones. Michaela Rose. Sharp shooting in the first half, as was many of the Highlanders. Down low. Matarraz turns around, spinning look. Again, nice defense from Whedon.
Yeah, 2 possessions in a row. She has been a very good defender.
Foy with a fancy Euro step, but just off the mark. So close. Gosh, someone's got a lid on these tins. There's a rejection by Johnson.
The Gales coming out much better defensively. Still having the same offensive problems, though, with the bucket just not going.
Yeah, going to be curious to talk to Kamen about this one afterwards, win or loss, as that pass is deflected and then stolen by Hackley. Because defensively, it doesn't appear as if UC Riverside has gotten much beyond the three-point shooting, and coming into the game, that might be something you think you could live with. Here's another 3. That's no good. But offensively has really been, I think, where the Highlanders have just fed from.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Amaya Jones hasn't gone off yet here in this first half with her shooting prowess and her basketball pedigree especially, too.
She leads St. Mary's through 6 games with 14 points per contest, a 50% three-point shooter, pardon me. Have not been able to get her many looks.
Trying to post her up there.
Here's a look for Whedon. Three-pointer, nothing but nylon.
Big shot there for the Gales. They needed that.
The first time that St. Mary's has had any advantage in any quarter so far. Obviously still a long ways to go, but a solid start for the Gales. Have not allowed a point through the first 3 minutes. Polk thought about the 3. Will also be interesting to see how UC Riverside approaches this game with the clock in their favor. Duchemin dumps it off. Nice pass to Matarraz, who scores.
And that's a difference right there. The Gales have had those looks, the nice pick and roll, some of the give and goes, and they're just not going in, whereas UC Riverside is getting them to fall.
Jones out to Johnson. Johnson had it stripped. Active hands from Rose, and a UC Riverside steal. Duchemin attacking Foy. Foy up to the challenge.
Another good stop for St. Mary's.
Now she'll bring it to the front court. Schaff will step into a 3. That is bottomed. St. Mary's with back-to-back triples.
And that's what they need. The outside shooting to step up, because it has been a struggle in the first half. Force a timeout now.
UC Riverside takes that first quick timeout of the third quarter, 34-19. St. Mary's slowly trimming into this deficit with 6 minutes and 12 seconds left in the third. And we'll step aside as well and come back after this from UCU Pavilion on ESPN+.
You got the tickets?
Vivid Seats, the only ticket company in the game that rewards you for buying. From concerts to sports and everything in between. Vivid Seats, official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Listen up, hockey fans. NHL on ESPN Plus is back. The hardest hits, the dangles, and of course, the semis.
You gotta be kidding me! It's not real!
Enjoy every second of 1,000+ out-of-market games, exclusive matchups, marquee NHL events, and so much more. That's hockey on ESPN Plus.
A
December pay-per-view to remember.
What a night.
Alexandre Pantoja, the best flyweight in the world.
Hi, Asakura, making his UFC debut.
He's a vicious striker. We got 2 undefeated phenoms. Let's go.
I'm so pumped for this fight.
They will not be able to keep the roof on this place.
This season, ESPN Plus has hundreds of games across 20 conferences. That's more action, more touchdowns, more college football.
Yeah, that's how I get by.
Streaming now.
NHL on ESPN Plus is back. Enjoy 1,000 plus out-of-market games and so much more. That's hockey on ESPN Plus. NHL on ESPN Plus is back. Enjoy 1,000 plus out-of-market games, exclusive matchups, marquee NHL events, and so much more. That's hockey on ESPN Plus.
Alexandre Pantoja, the best flyweight in the world.
Hi, Asakura, making his UFC debut.
We got 2 undefeated phenoms. Let's go.
What a night.
After the media timeout, St. Mary's cutting into this large UC Riverside deficit, and Tim getting an immediate turnover out of the break.
Forcing another one. That is a few possessions in a row.
Another 3. Whedon made her first of the second half. Cannot connect here. That's also a big difference for St. Mary's. Fitz, in the first quarter, they made 3 field goals. In the second quarter, they made 2 field goals. In the first 3 minutes of the third quarter, they have 2 field goals.
Already a big difference, but
yeah.
Here's a first foul. And getting a couple of buckets from downtown is a huge difference as well. Schaff and Whedon hitting from deep.
Foul on the floor. It's going to go against Whedon. That is her 3rd, and so certainly something to note. It's going to be the first team foul against St. Mary's of this second half. But Whedon inserted in the place of Afiaki, who struggled offensively from the floor through the first half. And Whedon has had a nice jolt added to this St. Mary's defense.
Yeah, and she can help spread the floor offensively.
Man-to-man defense from St. Mary's. Also a little bit different than the zone we saw primarily in the first half. A deep hoist finds the rim. UC Riverside corrals the rebound.
Rose again hustling to one of those long rebounds after a 3-ball.
And important that Chicano found rim. I mean, basically a prayer just to get a brand new shot clock, and they do. 6 to work with now. High-low entry. And there's a foul committed down beneath on Matarraz, and she'll step to the strike.
They're going to get Schaff on this one. It's a bit of a break rather than it being on Whedon.
Precisely. Although that is Schaff's second personal. Whedon will go to the bench, and here is Akuso. Again, we talked about this Fitz in the first half, and you pointed out appropriately on somewhat of a minutes limit. Returning from a knee injury, only had 2 minutes in that first half, and so we'll see however many she's allotted, but I have to imagine it will be in this half.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't expect more than 10 minutes throughout the half as a whole. It is good to see her without the big heavy brace she was wearing last season.
2 of 2 from the free throw line. UC Riverside cleaning up at the stripe. 9 of 10 as a team, and they're back up to a 17-point lead. Akuso with 5 minutes in her first game back off injury against Eastern Washington. 7 minutes her last time out. And gets a pass there from Schaff. Fading away in the post, and she gets to the free throw line. So difficult to defend on the block.
Yeah, you saw the little shimmy, fake to the left, spin right, and get that turnaround jumper. And, still working away into game shape, but she's got that ability to score at any point.
Well, we'll work our way into the media timeout. Another one taken here. 4:46 remaining in this third quarter. UC Riverside 36, St. Mary's 19. More Gales basketball after this on ESPN+.
Jersey Mike's freshly slices it right in front of you. The authentic Jersey way. You can't fake that. And look, you can fake a lot of stuff these days. You can fake my outfit. But you can't fake freshly sliced turkey. You can fake these haunches, but you can't fake freshly sizzled bacon. Nay, you just can't fake a freshly sliced Jersey sub. It's nice to be back in my real body. Number 13, please. Made the authentic Jersey way since 1956. It's a Jersey Mike's thing, a sub above.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink. Designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best, because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Credit Union One Free Checking has everything you need to bank on the go. Make deposits and more with our highly rated mobile app. And get your direct deposit up to 2 days sooner with CU1 Early Pay. Open your account in minutes at creditunion1.org.
Introducing CU1 High Yield Checking, the account that rewards you for everyday banking. Earn up to 5.25% APY when you make qualifying transactions each month. No minimum or opening balance required. Get started at cu1.com/high yield checking.
There are captivating moments, celebrated achievements, and enriching experiences that provide lifelong memories. We see a boundless drive to capture titles and serve as ambassadors on our campuses and in our communities. As our footprint grows, we continue to blaze our path forward. We are passionate, we are collaborative, and we are committed to excellence. We are the West Coast Conference.
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink, designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Gatorade, the world's most superior sports drink. Designed to rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. It fuels the best, because it is the best. Gatorade, is it in you?
Soraya Kuso at the free throw line out of the media timeout makes her first points of this evening. St. Mary's now cuts it to 15 against UC Riverside. 36-21 here in the third.
Even those free throws alone could be a boost for the Gales to have Akuso in the score sheet.
Evan Gettings and Tim Fitzgerald with you on ESPN+. St. Mary's back to kind of its hybrid zone, but a lot more intense defensively. And have already forced a trio of turnovers here in the second half. Nearly get another. And then Foy commits a foul with 7 remaining on the shot clock.
Boy, that play right there has been indicative of this game for the Gales. Kind of a microcosm of it. Almost force a turnover twice, and then just unfortunately stumble into a tough luck foul.
And so Coach Langston for UC Riverside will go to his bench, bringing back Tillery along with Wickstrom and maybe most importantly Shelly Duchemin, who had 8 points in the first half. It's now Matarraz that leads everyone with 12 in the game. And she swings it over now to Hackley. Tillery. They're trying to look into the interior for Matarraz. Hackley's 3, nothing but air. Duchemin keeps it in, but right to Jones.
See if Maya Jones can get going offensively.
Only took 1 shot in the first half and then gets her pocket picked.
Slick defensive play from Tillery.
But a pass a little bit too far out in front, and understandably Hackley cannot keep it in bounds. And St. Mary's overall, 13 turnovers, 7 of which in the first quarter. They've done a good job at cleaning that up, but the issue is that they dug themselves such a deep hole after going down 20-9 at the end of the first 10 minutes. And have sort of been digging themselves out ever since. Akuso gets fouled by Matarraz.
Just the gravity Soraya Akuso creates. It draws a lot of attention. Defensive fouls could help free up her teammates.
And for Matarraz, that's her second personal, second team foul for UC Riverside. Matarraz already with a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds as Schaff takes the short corner J. Misses everything. Outlet pass up ahead. Johnson will watch it fly by.
Even that was a nice play defensively there from Kennedy Johnson, getting in the way of the Riverside player trying to chase that ball down, allowing no angle, sealing that turnover.
St. Mary's has to make UC Riverside pay for these mistakes. They're leading them in this quarter, but haven't done enough damage yet. The Highlanders' defense has been suffocating. Akuso at the high post. Her pass is a little too long for Foy. Not the most crisp day for Jeff Kamen. Jones gets her hands in the passing lane and then has it taken away. Tillery, and UC Riverside ends up with it.
That's just another one of those sequences where it seems like the Gales are about to make a big play, maybe start turning some momentum around, and it just doesn't quite work out.
Duchemin gets called for the offensive foul, puts her elbow into the chest of Foy.
Yeah, a little too much with the off arm. Good job by Foy to draw that.
And a good call by Cheryl Blue. Saw the extension, the replay right there. And Foy moving her feet nicely while also staying outside the restricted area. And now UC Riverside just putting their lengthiest defender on Akuso. Jones swings it back. Akuso drives it Matarraz. Soft touch, no good.
It was good defense that time from Matarraz. Did enough to make that shot difficult.
No doubt, Matarraz, a senior from Barcelona, Spain. He's been a big part of this UC Riverside program, and one that under Langston last year as the interim coach came in third in the Big West as that long two is drained by Tillery, and the lead is back to 17. 12-win turnaround from 2 seasons ago to last season for UC Riverside. This is a program that's trying to cook and really overshoot the expectations for them. Johnson off the mark, but this is a team that was picked to finish 10th in the Big West. And they've played with a chip on their shoulders tonight. Under 90 seconds remaining here in the third. Wickstrom, nice delivery to Matarraz, who flushes it.
That is just a defensive miscue by the Gales. They've played so much better defensively in this second half, but totally lost Matarraz in the post. And Jeff Kamen not happy with it.
Now a timeout for St. Mary's. We'll keep it here through the break with 1:03 remaining in this third. And again, there's been glimpses of it, but not enough consistency for St. Mary's, specifically offensively. Now, UC Riverside, we talked about this, the 30 points midway through that second quarter. It looked like, oh my gosh, offensively they're going to blow the doors off. Well, no, St. Mary's did a pretty good job of quieting them down, but they themselves have not been able to so far even get double digits in any of their 3 quarters.
Yeah, that's been the real struggle. Just haven't gotten anything going offensively. They got a 3-minute, 43-second scoring drought right now, 0 for their last 4. And, we talked about that UC Riverside could sort of regain the form they had last year. New parts this season, and they've, now, 6 games in, maybe starting to find it a little bit, at least on the defensive end.
Well, not getting any help from kind of deflections or 50-50 balls. No second chance points for St. Mary's. Got a little bit off the fast break, but some plays also just not moving in their favor. Afika back into the game. Also with Fishmanor. And Whedon returning as well for St. Mary's. Fishmanor with 7 to shoot. Johnson gets into the paint. Good defense from Duchemin.
Credit UC Riverside. They have read their scouting report, and they are executing it defensively quite well.
Defending without fouling has been the calling card for the Highlanders tonight as Matarraz goes to work in the post. Steps through. Nice defense on the block by Jones.
Now we're seeing Afika a little gun-shy, a little tentative to try to get her offense going after going 1 for 7 in the first half.
7 seconds remain here in the third quarter. Jones to Whedon. Whedon for three. Too long. UC Riverside the rebound. They won't get a shot out before the horn, but another strong defensive quarter for the Highlanders. And St. Mary's will trail by 9. Side, and instead it's a deep three by Tillery, effectively going for the kill shot.
Langston, eyes closed, head down, looking at her as she went back.
Some room to play with, I guess, would be the bright side of things for the Highlanders.
It's good to learn from a win if you're in this situation for UC Riverside.
Yeah, and St. Mary's is certainly going to have a lot to take from this game unless they come all the way back. 8 minutes to do so, trailing by 18. Trailed by as many as 19. That will help as Johnson hits the three.
All right, 2 3 balls again hit by the Gales early in a quarter. Can they maintain it?
Johnson now leads all Gales with 7 points. Is averaging double digits in her first season in Moraga. The three, the response is off the mark from Hackley. Ishimanora gets out from underneath the double team. Afiki to the corner. Jones, a three-pointer. No good. And then there's a foul called. Have to imagine that's going against St. Mary's.
Yeah, Jones really just no opportunity to get in any sort of a rhythm here this afternoon. It's one of the Gales' top shooters.
And that was Maya Jones' second field goal of the game and just her first three-point attempt. Not something you often see, especially for a player that led everyone in their last victory against Monroe with 19 points. She had a 31-point game last year against Pepperdine. I mean, Maya Jones can fill it up.
Yeah.
UC Riverside has done a nice job on her tonight.
Yeah, and especially if she gets 1 or 2 to go, that really starts to steamroll, and she can really build off of that. The confidence grows.
15-point game now. Riverside reinserts Rose.
Now 15 is not insurmountable with a full 7 minutes to play, but the Gales have a lot of work to do.
That's a good point. Rose here loses it. Jones ends up with the steal. Afiki says, you have it. Johnson just hit a three. Back out to Jones. Doesn't want the triple.
It's just too much clock used here.
Jones from the corner cannot fire and hit. And just nothing smooth right now along with the entire game offensively for St. Mary's. Matarraz sets the pick. Tillery, and now they'll swing it around to the left side. Duchemin squares up. Jump shot off the mark. St. Mary's has held the Highlanders to just 35% from the floor. They have not hit a three in the entire second half. I mean, they've done their job defensively. To the corner now. Jada Hunter steps back, has to shoot, does so, and a tough look.
Yeah, Gale's just stagnant offensively, not a lot of movement.
Now, and it feels like probably because of the way this game has gone, there's also some hesitation. No hesitation from Rose, who misses the three. Johnson again gets the rebound. That's number 4.
You're absolutely right, though, Evan. It'll create offensive tentativeness if you've had this sort of a shooting game.
Well, and
uncertainty.
And example A is Afiki right now. Was not shy in the first half to take some of those long twos, which she can hit. Now gets a nice pass and delivery, but gets blocked. What a play there from Matarraz. She's been everywhere.
It's been a really good second half for her. The array of post moves, keeping the pivot foot down and doing a great job defensively.
Duchemin turns on Jones. Little one-handed scoop will get to the free throw line.
Nice scoop shot, forcing the foul. You see how she creates well for herself offensively. Doesn't need a lot of room.
That'll take us to the final media timeout of the ball game. 4 minutes and 50 seconds remain. 15-point lead for UC Riverside. Free throws on the other side. When we return, Emmy Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald on ESPN+.
You got the tickets?
Vivid Seats, the only ticket company in the game that rewards you for buying. From concerts to sports and everything in between. Vivid Seats, official ticketing partner of ESPN.
You have to have a dream, a goal. You have to be willing to work for it.
We are not going to stop chasing a dream you can't see.
You look up not giving up in the dictionary, a picture of my wife would be there.
You're one of the strong ones, okay? Just remember that.
You're stronger.
My dad would be so thankful for all of the lives that have been saved.
2 elite conferences loaded with talent on the spotlight.
Let's go!
Which side will shine the brightest?
Are you not entertained?
And whose legend will grow?
Spectacular!
The SEC-ACC Challenge, next Thursday on ESPN.
Let's go!
The SEC-ACC Challenge, next Thursday on ESPN.
We interrupt with an important announcement.
The Simpsons Fun Day Football is coming to Springfield on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. On December 9th, Bart and the Bengals face off against Homer and the Cowboys in prime time. Football fans and Simpsons nerds finally come together to watch the game live from Springfield. Watch The Simpsons Fun Day Football between the Bengals and the Cowboys Monday, December 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus.
This season, ESPN Plus has hundreds of games across 20 conferences. That's more action, more touchdowns, more college football. Streaming now.
NHL on ESPN Plus is back. Enjoy 1,000+ out-of-market games and so much more. That's hockey on ESPN Plus.
We interrupt with an important announcement.
The Simpsons Fun Day Football is coming to Springfield. Bart and the Bengals face off against Homer and the Cowboys in prime time. Monday, December 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus.
Welcome back here to the fourth quarter from inside UCU Pavilion. To the free throw line goes Shelly Duchemin in a 15-point UC Riverside lead. Evan Giddings and Tim Fitzgerald with you courtside. And St. Mary's so far in the second half defensively has done a far superior job. But again, those easy baskets just have not been able to come for St. Mary's, and plays like that, even off a missed free throw, UC Riverside benefits from a whistle.
Boy, that has typified this game for the Gales. It's just been one of those games. I guess, in the post game of this, you'll watch some of this, trying to learn from some of these moments, but at the same time, it could be one of those games you erase pretty quickly and try to move on from.
Edie Clark checks in for Afiaki, who committed the foul, her first. Now 3 team fouls for St. Mary's remaining in this ball game. Free throws might become a part of this game relatively soon unless the lead grows even larger. 3-pointer, Michaela Rose. Ball up and ripped down by Schaff. Schaff, one of the prize transfers this offseason for Jeff Kamen. Didn't get her over from Long Beach State after an injury-riddled season a year ago, but does so this season as Jada Hunter commits the turnover. "17 turnovers for UC Riverside have led to 14 St. Mary's points. Now 17 turnovers for St. Mary's have led to 10 UC Riverside points. Here's Tillery. Kicks it out to an open Hackley. 3-pointer, no good. And a long rebound, a lot of contact, no whistle. Schaff into the paint. There is contact, and a block is called in the middle.
Schaff undaunted. I like the aggressive take, trying to finish this game strong.
That's going to be on Hackley. Second team foul for UC Riverside. First personal on Hackley. As a team, UC Riverside shooting just 21% in this second half. Unfortunately, the Gales only slightly ahead at 23 as Schaff hits the first.
Yeah, Schaff was off to a nice start last season. 8 points, about 5 boards a game before that injury. 22 games as a freshman the year before.
The shooting beginning to come along for Schaff. Hit just her second 3 of the season as she knocks down both of those free throws. Struggled a bit at the free throw line as well to begin the year, but a small sample size. Looking to find her stroke. 14-point game with under 3.5 left. St. Mary's closing out. Kind of a 3-2 zone here as Duchemin attacks Whedon, fades away, and falls it over the top of the tin. A shot there from Duchemin. First Riverside field goal since the beginning of this quarter as Clark kicks it out. Nice extra pass to Foy, who attacks. Stripped by Hackley, and it's out of bounds. Foy's eyes got big with an open rim, and the last line of defense was all that UC Riverside needed. And now foul committed about as far in the backcourt as you can by Hunter.
We didn't see as much of the high-pressure defense from the Gales as we thought we would, but if you're not making shots, it's hard to set up your press after that.
And some frustration on the face of Hunter, who's going to tag out for Sasha Murphy. There's a kickball off Clark. Well, really the first game since the opener in which St. Mary's has not played in a close game. And now there's a foul away from the inbounds, and I believe that's going to be on Murphy. And as a dead ball foul, that's a free throw.
Boy, just a rough sequence there for St. Mary's with fouls combining.
Also the 5th team foul.
Yeah, they had the blowout loss to Cal, and even that was an interesting game for a little while. The second half, Golden Bears pulled away. Had that 5-point win here at home versus Denver. Went to double overtime at UC San Diego. Just a 3-point loss to UC Irvine. And that one came right down to the wire as well. And then back-to-back close wins on the trip to Hawaii. You thought they would maybe bring some momentum back from that trip with them. It just never quite materialized here back at home.
Well, kind of a long layoff, 6 days. Next week is going to be some kind of tighter basketball built together. So obviously Riverside tonight San Jose State on the road on Wednesday, and then next Saturday against Cal Baptist. So 3 games in a week for St. Mary's after just 1 in the last 7 days. Duchemin the other way, as now Tillery backs it out.
Yeah, Gales will need to find their stroke, especially by the time they're playing Cal Baptist, right back here at UCU Pavilion. That'll be the next time we're on the air with you here from Moraga.
And there's an offensive foul against Duchemin. That is her 3rd personal. 3rd team foul for UC Riverside. Gales in the bonus. Ishmanor to Foy. Clark going to the rim and just deterred, tossed away by Matarraz.
Matarraz has had a very good game, just showing her veteran presence and savvy out there.
14 points, 16 rebounds, and now 2 blocks, as there's another near steal. Foy comes away with it. 2 to play here for the Gales. Turnaround from Shore, rattles it in at the end of the horn. And a quick timeout from Jeff Kamen. 1:55 remaining, 15-point ball game.
We'll see if Coach Kamen's looking to set something up or is really just trying to get his bench into the game here. We'll see which way this shakes out.
Well, probably one of those last surges. I mean, you almost have to play perfect basketball at this point. You're going to need threes. You're going to need turnovers. You're going to need UC Riverside to probably miss some free throws. And so, this is kind of that last opportunity for you to really relay the message.
Yeah, and at worst, make things look a little better on paper. Make it a little, that final score look a little better. Try to take some momentum into that San Jose State game as well.
Yeah, and even though the game has obviously not gone in St. Mary's way, it's one of those where, 1:48 left. We don't want to go out soft.
Right.
We don't want this game to get any worse than it already is. And whether or not you win the game or not, I think that the last couple of minutes does reflect a lot about a team and the type of energy they display.
And as we say, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. This is still on video. These final minutes will be recorded. Coach Kamen and the staff, they'll see, how focused, how much effort is put into these final couple of minutes here for this Gales side.
So a small backcourt for St. Mary's. A couple of their quicker defenders, Jada Hunter and Mariana Hishmanor. Clark and Whedon, who've been 2 of their better defensive front court players tonight, along with Johnson for the Gales. Duchemin dribbles it out for a leg out of bounds. Well, there's a start. Also, the clock reset. Apologies, mentioned 1:48. 1:55, so a couple of extra ticks for the Gales to work with. Ishmanor going to have to inbound it. And it is off of Hackley. Into the backcourt it goes. Hunter gathers. Still, St. Mary's has to move with some urgency. Not the time to be running down the shot clock.
No, absolutely.
You see Riverside's defending well. Here's Hunter and travels. And that probably is going to do it.
She showed some great effort getting back there for that loose ball. Did Hunter behind the back to then get out of some trouble, but kind of stop the feet there.
UC Riverside, 36% from the floor this season as a team. They're at 34. And they will not crack 60. But it's pretty much been a rock fight at this point.
Yeah, they got to that 30-something early in the first half, late in that first half, rather early in the game. And we thought they might be on a pace for it, but you're right that this game as a whole slowed down, and once the Gales had trouble scoring, it didn't really put the pressure on UC Riverside for them to keep their offense churning.
No, I mean, St. Mary's has outscored UC Riverside in this second half, 18-14. And It's just the first quarter is really what killed them. Riverside hitting a couple threes, live ball turnovers turned into points, and then an inability to really generate anything outside of an Emily Foy half-court heave. They very easily could have been down by much more than the 11 that they were. So battling back into this game, they get a turnover here. Ishmanor to Johnson, a three-pointer. Around, out. Hunter, the first offensive rebound of the game for St. Mary's, and there's a putback attempt that falls.
Second chance points finally for St. Mary's.
The first 2 points in that category of the game tonight. Here's another turnover inside. Whedon puts it in. 60 seconds left, and the lead has been shrunk to 11. And now Matarraz.
Yeah, she hit the deck hard.
Lisa's up and gingerly walking, going to stay in the basketball game, but hit the deck with
landed on her left hip a bit there, but looks to be okay at least.
And just accidentally tripped over Hunter. So incidental, a timeout's taken by UC Riverside. Both teams have just one timeout left. 59.5 remaining, 46-35. St. Mary's lead. They're on a 6-0 run over the last minute. And it's pretty much been their only run of the game, outside of a 6-0 spurt to begin the second half on a couple threes. But
yeah, they started each quarter hitting a couple of threes here in the second half and then had trouble maintaining that.
41 combined turnovers tonight between the teams, split about as evenly as possible. 21 for UCR and then 20 for St. Mary's. But the turnovers have been how, I guess they've kind of resurrected themselves in these last 2 minutes. Been able to get some easier baskets, and Sir Jeff Kamen, kind of wondering why this might not have shown up earlier in the game. But also, it's a situation where UC Riverside, it's always difficult when you get those large late leads. You always hate to say you don't play to lose, but you kind of do.
Your intensity is going to wane a little bit, and you're not going to have the same amount of pressure applied, even strategically, is what you're going for. And, desperation versus just trying to run out that clock. Two very different methods of trying to finish this game out.
So Brad Langston uses his second to last timeout, his final timeout for UC Riverside. First-year head coach will now give it for DeSchumann. Inbounds here to Tillery, who is immediately fouled.
Riverside, a big week coming up with some early Big West play. They'll host CSUN, then go to Cal State Fullerton.
As a team, 65% from the free throw line. Matarraz returns.
Yeah, good to see the Matarraz is okay.
Yeah, but so far this season, Riverside has now played a few WCC opponents as that free throw is missed. The opening season loss to Santa Clara, defeated slightly by Pepperdine on the road. And at least so far, looking like they're going to get their first win against the conference here in Moraga. Second free throw is down for Tillery.
And you wonder if the Gales maybe took UC Riverside a little lightly coming into this contest.
Hunter off the bounce. Quick move to the cup and a strong finish.
Good aggressive take.
10-point game, 50 ticks remaining. They're looking to steal in the backcourt, will foul in the front court. And UC Riverside breaks the press. And actually, now they foul. Take about 8 seconds off the clock, and DeSchumann will step to the line. DeSchumann with 13 points and 6 rebounds in 31 minutes this evening. It's her first.
Yeah, big games for her and Matarraz.
17 steals tonight for UC Riverside. DeSchumann with 3, Matarraz with 6. 6 steals to go along with a pair of blocks, 14 points, and 16 rebounds. Filling up every part of the box score.
Yeah, flirting with a triple-double.
Johnson will fire a three. Rounding out. Manages to corral her own rebound. Gets blocked from behind, but somehow forces it in. Again, 10-point game, 25 seconds left. Duchemin is fouled in front of the scores table. You see Riverside out of timeouts. Or pardon me, not fouled. Just poked out of bounds by St. Mary's. They keep it clean. Matarraz gets the rebound, or the inbounds. With the shot clock turned off. St. Mary's not opting to foul.
Not opting to foul, but not conceding either. At least trying to play some solid defense right down to the final buzzer.
And a turnover. So 8 seconds remain now in the ball game. St. Mary's leading 49-39. Schmidover comes across the stripe. Her floater is good. So St. Mary's is going to end on hitting 5 of the last 6, but unfortunately fits too little, too late. As a big first half from UC Riverside, which saw them get as large as a 19-point lead, helps them cruise to a road victory.